Hello and welcome to this episode 50. It's Troy's episode, but before we get into that, just a quick thing. We have decided that we are going to put the podcast on a hiatus for a little while. June was a roller coaster of a month. We had a break at the end of May because we had our wedding anniversary. And then the weekend after, we had Monster Palooza, which is a lot of fun. We grabbed really cool stuff. We gave out some stickers. It was a lot. It was a good time. And the weekend after that, the protests in LA started to happen. And it didn't feel right to just sit around and talk about movies while, a revolution was starting, pretty much. And we kind of just decided to take a break again. And while we were taking this break, we got a lot of stuff done. I have been writing a book for the past going on 4 years now. And I did so much writing. I did more writing I had within the last 6 months. So it just kind of came to a realization that the podcast it's not a burden. It was never a burden. It was never a burden. This was something we enjoyed so much doing with each other and stuff, but our future plans don't fit into the podcast schedule as we see it. I want to finish my book. Troy is planning on going back to school next year. And we are it felt like chickens running around with their heads off when it came down to recording the podcast sometimes, because we were so busy, and then we realized, oh yeah, we have to sit down and record as well. We can't just do the research and and watch the movie. And so it just became something that was more energy than we had in us. So right now, for our mental health and just to relieve some pressure from our lives, and also with everything happening in the world right now, it would be easier for us to focus on our other projects. This has been such a delight. I've had so much fun doing this podcast with Troy, and it's spending the time with Troy was really fun. And having him watch all kinds of crazy shit it was so fun. And watching the movies is fun. And I think it opened the door to a lot of different movies for a lot of different people as well. Because we have, people who are close to us who have, been listening to the podcast, and we appreciate that so much. So I didn't mean to cry. So yeah, we're going to take a hiatus. This isn't the end. This definitely is not the end. I want to come back and I want to do more of this, but for right now, we need to focus on other projects for our future. And, yeah, I hope a lot of you come back when we're ready to come back. And we appreciate everything. We appreciate all the little things that people have sent to us, all the little comments, even if there's like 1 or 2 comments on a video. We appreciate everyone. So thanks for letting us do this, and thanks for the support. Yeah, that's all. That's all I wanted to say. So until next time, enjoy this episode, and we'll talk to you later. And I made him watch.
Hello, and welcome back to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where we risk our marriage by forcing each other to watch weird, wild, and deeply disturbing films, all in the name of love and low-budget horror. I'm your host, Troy Allen, filmmaker, genre junkie, and a man who may or may not have been bitten in his sleep. And with me, as always, the scream queen of my heart, my co-host, my wife, Danny Page. Say hi, Danny.
Hi.
This last month has been a scream. We had our wedding anniversary, and then we followed that up with a romantic getaway to Monsterpalooza.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing says love like latex monsters, overpriced food, and way too many Terrifier t-shirts.
So many Terrifier t-shirts. Dude. So many. I would say at least double the amount since last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think having that last Terrifier 3 movie in like main media, like cinemas, really punched the card. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was probably one of the, I don't know, wildest movies I've ever seen in theater. You know, I mean, it was wild. But yeah, you know, anniversary kisses and horror props.
Yeah.
Just the way I like it.
Yeah. And I mean, I just mentioned this in my little message before, but you know, with everything happening in LA, June has just been filled with events that are going to change our world. And I think we need some time to process what was going on around us. And I didn't feel exactly the right time to talk about movies right then. So, and we did have a nice anniversary, and Monsterpalooza was great. Cool stuff. Gave out some stickers. It was fun.
Yeah, dude.
It was a lot of fun.
We stumbled upon a fucking original Japanese print poster of Lair of the White Worm. Mm-hmm. And Danny and all her haggling prowess got us a steal.
I did. He originally wanted 80 for the poster, and I got him down to 55.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we handed out some stickers, and you know, people were just cool, and yeah, I love Monsterpalooza.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. Talked to a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
You saw that those YouTubers you like, but you weren't brave enough to talk to them.
So I'm a pretty big fan of the Grim Life Collective. They're on YouTube, and I just love their like content. How they how Michael and Jessica put together their videos and stuff. Yeah. And like, that's kind of what I aspire to want to do and stuff, you know, but you know, I have to live life and do adult things. But yeah, we saw them, and me being my introverted self, I'm just like, oh man, I don't even know what I would say.
He stopped and we stared at them for a little while, and I was like, why don't you just go say hi, say you're a fan? Because they were already talking to people and taking pictures with people. And he was like, nah.
Yeah. I was like, no, dude, that's cringe. I don't know. Weird. Anyways.
Yeah.
So last episode, I know that was a month ago now.
Yeah.
We spiraled into the cold paranoia of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
So good,
from 1978.
So good.
But this week, we journey deeper into the shadows of cinema itself. We're going back over a century to the haunted origins of horror on film, to F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu, the silent scream that birthed the genre. An unauthorized adaptation of Dracula, this film defied death, both on screen and off, to become one of the most influential horror tales ever told.
I've always been a vampire girly. I love Anne Rice. I love Dracula. I mean, we have an OG poster from the 1992 Bram Stoker's Dracula in my room. And I felt a lot of shame for not watching the original vampire movie before this.
Yeah.
It was a piece of art, though, and it's so goth, and I love it. I really... It's... I'm not saying it's an easy watch, but the aesthetic of it is really cool. I like it a lot.
So, there's the version you can watch on Amazon, which has music and stuff, and it's in color. But then there's the like original version that you can watch. It's on the Wikipedia page. You could probably find it elsewhere too, but that's where I found it. But that is like the OG.
Completely silent.
Completely silent.
Completely silent.
How it was meant to be watched originally, even with like the German intertitles and all that stuff too. It's wild. So let's start off by talking about the man himself, Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau. He was born in 1888 in Bielefeld, Germany. He lived a life that reads like a film plot all on its own. Before he ever stepped behind a camera, he studied philology, which is the study of language in oral and written historical sources.
Oh, so he was an oral guy. Okay. Sorry.
I'm sure he loved diving into the annals of history.
God damn.
Too, you know.
You took it too far. That was too far. That was one step too far.
He joined the theater under the legendary Max Reinhardt and served in World War I, first as an infantry officer, and then as an observer, and then a gunner in the German Flying Corps, surviving multiple plane crashes. After the war, he returned to filmmaking and quickly carved a name for himself with visually daring works like The Boy in Blue and Der Jahreskopf. By the time Nosferatu crept onto screens in 1922, he hadn't won any major awards, but he had already helped shape German Expressionism and left an imprint on the silent film era that would echo for decades to come.
Okay, very cool.
Henrik Galeen was born January 7th, 1881 in Lemberg, Austria-Hungary, which is now Lviv, Ukraine. He's our screenwriter.
Okay.
So he was a screenwriter, director, and actor known for his work in silent-era German expressionist cinema. Before writing Nosferatu, he co-wrote and directed The Golem,
Ooh,
one of the earliest horror films, and contributed to several UFA productions like Ruth's Two Husbands.
ooh.
I know. Scandalous.
Sounds like my type of movie.
He later worked on films like Waxworks, The Student of Prague, and Alron, cementing his place in horror film history. After fleeing Nazi Germany, he eventually settled in the U.S., where he passed away in 1949.
Okay.
Our film begins with title cards detailing the cast, as well as an inner title that reads, "Does this word not sound to you like the midnight cry of the deathbird? Take care in saying it, lest life's images fade into shadows, and ghostly dreams rise from your heart and nourish themselves on your blood. Long have I contemplated the origin and recession of the great death in my hometown of Visburg. Here is its story. There lived in Visburg Hutter and his young wife Ellen." Thomas Hutter, played by Gustav von Wangenheim, gets ready for work while his wife Ellen, played by Greta Schroeder, plays with their cat.
It's so goth. It's so goth, and I love it so much. The beginning had me really excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like title card intro. Ooh,
It's deep.
yes. And then when I saw Ellen for the first time playing with the cat, my first thought, oh no, that cat's dead now. I was like,
Yeah.
that cat's been dead for hundreds of years.
Yeah, dude. I mean, well, it was 100 years ago.
Yeah,
but
100 years, yeah.
He dead AF, as the young ones like to say. Thomas surprises Ellen with a bouquet of flowers from their garden. The inner title reads, "Why did you kill them? The lovely flowers."
So this was a great way to show how sensitive Ellen is. Like she already is like a little different, and it's a sweet gesture. But did he have to get it from her garden? Did he have to like pick her flowers she worked on? Like that's her stuff, man. Like that's her hard work, and you're just pulling her beautiful flowers up. Like
I know. I mean, at least he did it. You know,
right?
I feel like
then go buy a bouquet. Just go buy a bouquet.
I mean, this is also like 1830s Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if there's like a bouquet cart on
I'm
every
pretty sure
street,
there's
you know?
like a flower shop,
a floralist
Yeah.
or whatever. A
Yes.
florist. Yeah, floralist.
Don't leave your wife's garden alone. Leave your wife's garden alone. Don't touch her flowers. Those are hardworking flowers. I mean, personally, I would be upset if I had like spent a lot of time on a garden and like planted some flowers then you just like cut them.
Yeah.
And like brought them to me. I'm like, dude.
But I would like to say, to be fair though, we never see her taking care of the flowers.
True.
So-
But I think it says it's her garden though.
Oh, I don't know.
And I think that's
Maybe.
how. But yeah, I already dislike Thomas. I don't like Thomas at all. I'm going to get into it.
Thomas has got a rocky road ahead of him. Okay.
Fuck
I promise.
Thomas.
On his way to work, Thomas is stopped by a man in the street. This man is Professor Bulwer. They talk for a moment and then they go about their day.
Yeah. I think it's just a way to introduce this professor, and it's just not like because he shows up later, you know?
Yeah. The next scene begins with Orlok sitting at his desk. Orlok, who is our Renfield, has received a letter written with Kabbalistic symbols from an elusive client, Count Orlok. The inner title that follows reads, "Here's an important letter from Transylvania. Count Dracula wishes to buy a house in our city. So I think that intertitle was actually from the Amazon version, which is the I think that's like the public domain version, because I don't know, with Bram Stoker's estate.
Yes, it was
all that stuff.
It was messy drama.
Yeah,
messy drama.
Yeah. But yeah, it's important to note that while the characters' names were changed in the adaptation, the intertitles clearly acknowledge the source material.
And the tea in the little segment before we see Knock about all sorts of rumors circulated about him, like that tells you he is some deep shit already.
Yeah.
Like also Knock is creepy as fuck.
He is.
Like he's a bad guy. He looks like a bad guy. Like he is creepy. He's got like half bald and his hair is crazy. He's got weird teeth. Knock is not a good guy.
No. Yeah.
Creepy as fuck.
Like he's definitely creepier in this version than he was in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Yeah, and Robert Eggers, he's a little more sophisticated, I would say.
A little bit, yeah.
A little more planned ahead.
Yeah, he's not too as chaotic as this version is, for sure.
Yeah.
So Knock pushes Thomas to take on this strange assignment, claiming the Count is rich and free with his money. Knock says Thomas will have a marvelous journey, and as young as he is, what matter is it if it costs some pain or some blood?
Backstabbing motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just backstabbing.
It's like Knock knew. Knock knew
what was
going to happen.
I mean, he's at his desk and he has like this piece of paper that has all these like alchemist like symbols and stuff on it. So like he's out for himself.
Yeah.
Like he's in some dark shit.
Yep.
And he is offering Thomas up like a sacrificial lamb.
Oh yeah, for sure. While Thomas plots his journey on the map, Knock studies the letter again. Thomas returns to Knock, who then points out the window at a building facing Thomas's own home and claims that would suit the Count. Knock then tells Thomas to leave at once and not be frightened if people speak of Transylvania as the land of phantoms. Spooky, right?
Also, how coincidence that it's the house right across from Thomas. That's so funny, isn't it? That's just so that's
weird.
Special.
If I were Thomas, I'd be like, well, why has it got to be that house?
Yeah. Also, not trying too hard. Like he's just doing too much. Like I understand he's obsessed with the occult and he thinks he's some great alchemist or whatever, but bro is a henchman.
He is. I think that's the whole point.
He is a low-life henchman. He thinks he's something big and bad, but he's scruffy.
Oh, yeah.
He's dusty and scruffy.
At home, Ellen waits for her husband. Thomas arrives and breaks the news of his travel. Ellen is stunned. Thomas begins packing, and Ellen comes to him for comfort. The scene ends with an intertitle that reads, "So Hutter placed the anguished girl in the care of his friends, the rich ship owner Harding and his sister."
Ellen's reaction to Thomas leaving is pretty raw here. Like, it's a silent movie, so there's nothing but facial features and physical actions to portray their emotions, and the actress did a great job. It's very stiff, and you can see the ache in her eyes. Also, it's so demeaning to call her an anguished girl. That is his wife. Mm-hmm. And you call...
No, it is. It is.
Listen, I would have been burned at the stake. She's
a witch.
I would have been fighting motherfuckers and punching people in the face if they had treated me this way. I would have burned at the stake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. At Harding's home, Thomas kisses Ellen goodbye and sets off on his journey.
Yeah, up to this point, and still throughout the movie, Thomas seems like just a very goofy guy. But like them like leaving each other and him leaving her at the stairs and her chasing after him for a little while is pretty touching. That was okay.
Yeah. Thomas's journey takes him to the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. Here he comes across a small village.
So when I started watching this the first time, I was watching the one on Amazon, which like you said has the music accompanying the film. Mm-hmm. And the music is so goofy during the scenes in the village. Have you watched it? It's some this like it's like some sort of goofy little adventure. Like it doesn't the music does not match the vibe of the silent movie at all. It's kind of goofy. It's a little like hodunky type of like fiddle, and I don't know. It's a little from what I remember, it's a little boppy. And it's like it's some goof little adventure, and this guy definitely isn't going to get like kidnapped by a vampire.
Oh no,
like he's definitely not going to get like kidnapped and hostage by a vampire. Yeah.
Thomas takes up housing at the local inn. He glows with excitement at the hospitality of the locals. He demands something to eat quickly, for he must get to Count Orlok's castle. And at the mere mention of the name, the locals gasp and cower in shock.
Did you see what I wrote? I was like, ooh, drama. Thomas is here to stir up some shit. Mary's ahead of him.
This is a very serious movie now. I mean, it was like, I don't know, like even for a silent movie, I feel like I could hear them gasping. Just
drama. He's there to stir up the shit. Like he is a white hetero guy just like coming in like, I'm here now and I'm going to do what I want. I don't care what the villagers say. They've been here for generations. Fuck them. I know what I'm doing. I got to get that money. I got to get the bag. Anyways.
Thomas takes notice of the reactions. The innkeeper warns him to not go any further.
And also, Thomas is not the brightest guy. He really is just giving big dumb himbo energy, honestly.
Yeah.
He really is.
He's very naive to the world.
Oh, he's so dumb.
Yeah.
God, he's so dumb. It's so sad.
Yeah. In the next shot, we see some sort of striped dog come from out of the woods, scaring the horses. Through some research, I discovered that is a striped hyena, which are increasingly rare and endangered these days.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
The hyena thing, that lasted so long.
Yeah.
That was like 10 minutes of just this shot of like the hyena and then like the scenery around the village and stuff, and then a hyena again. And that was...
Well, during like the Thomas talking to the innkeeper, I think he mentioned something about there being wolves and stuff in the woods. And I think that the striped hyena was supposed to be like a visual of that, sort of. Other than that, I mean, I'm not entirely sure why you would put a striped hyena in the Carpathian Mountains.
Man, I don't know. Listen, it was 1922. Yeah. So they didn't know anything. They were really dumb back then.
We'll just give them the benefit of the doubt.
They were so dumb.
Thomas retires to his room for the evening with the help of the chambermaid. We see the striped hyena once again while Thomas peers from the window. Thomas then sits on his bed, leafing through reading materials. He picks up a small book titled Of Vampires, Ghastly Spirits, Bewitchments, and the Seven Deadly Sins. After reading, he tosses the book and falls fastly asleep. Yeah,
that seems like appropriate reading material. Just a coincidence that this particular book is in his room. And like, also, do you think the people in the 20s had better common sense than nowadays? Modern times?
I don't know, man. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think they would be like, oh, that's so strange that he found that book.
Yeah. Well, so to me, like common sense would be like not dying of dysentery, you know?
Yeah.
But they did that shit all the time. You know?
They did.
Or like, you know, somehow entire towns were ravaged by cholera, you know, and the only way to combat it was to just burn the town down.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of wonderful that we have vaccines nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, they do help quite a bit.
They do most of the work, honestly, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And keeping humans alive.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. Okay.
The next day, Thomas awakens and looks out the window to the villagers corralling the horses. After getting ready for the day, he heads down to the awaiting carriage and sets forth into the mountains in search of Count Orlok.
And you know, at least the scenery is really nice. Like there's a lot of like setting shots that are good here. Like very nature-y and trees, and I like that shit, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After a day's worth of riding, the sun is beginning to set and Thomas demands they travel faster. The carriage stops with the driver saying, "Offer what you like," we're not going any further. Thomas grabs his things and sets off on foot.
Yeah, he told him to start kicking his feet. And he did exactly what every himbo would have done. He walked his ass to that castle.
It's that one, It's an old, like, Christmas movie. It's an animated, like, claymation Christmas movie with the warlock and stuff. And, like, you have this young Kris Kringle. And,
oh, yeah.
And the warlock is, you put one foot in front of the other.
Yep.
And anyways, that's Thomas here.
Yeah.
So Thomas had just crossed a bridge when eerie visions grab hold of him. He continues towards the castle when a horse-drawn carriage being driven by Orlok in disguise stops and offers Thomas a ride.
What a messy bitch. Orlok in that costume is my favorite part. He looks like he is serving cunt. Like, he is so sassy.
Oh, yeah.
He's giving Thomas these, like, looks, too, like, as he's, like, trying to hide his identity.
Yeah.
It's so sexually infused. I'll get into that later, actually. I'm going to get into that
Orlok
later.
just wants to jump them bones.
Listen, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to tell you something later, okay?
So I haven't done any research or anything, but I could see, like, people watching this for the first time or whatever and completely missing the fact that that's Count Orlok and that's driving the carriage.
Really?
Yeah. I could see people missing it.
Okay.
And you'll see why here in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So eventually the carriage arrives at the castle with Orlok pointing the way. Thomas walks to the gate and turns to see the carriage driving off into the distance. The gate opens to reveal Count Orlok waiting for Thomas inside. So to me, like, him seeing Count Orlok inside after having just watched the carriage drive off, I could see why people would think that the driver wasn't Count Orlok.
Okay. Yeah.
But the thing is like, this is very, very early vampirism in cinema, So, like, him being, like, Orlok being able to just kind of, like, I don't know.
That's superhuman speed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, people probably wouldn't understand that.
Not then. No,
Yeah.
You're right.
So I could see people missing that. Thomas approaches. Count Orlok scolds him for making Orlok wait for so long. Orlok guides Thomas further into the castle.
Poor dumb Thomas. Bless his little himbo heart.
Just right into the damn trap. So at the beginning of the second act, Thomas and Orlok are sitting at the dining table, and Thomas eats while Orlok reads through the real estate agreement Thomas brought with him.
I was expecting more of a grand reveal for actual Orlok, like they did in the more modern movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just kind of like, oh, okay. So he's just a guy then. He's just a guy.
Well, so what I do like about this is in the dining room scene, Orlok has still got that, like, hat on and stuff, and he's still giving off this sort of, like, noble, sort of Romanian, noblesman vibe, right? And you don't really see Count Orlok as himself until much later on in the movie. So even in, like, Eggers' version, Orlok is dressed up in sort of like a nobleman attire.
Yeah, like really old.
Yeah. And you don't really see Orlok for what he is until much later on. So I do like that.
Yeah. Also, there was a really cool skeleton clock in the scene.
Yeah.
I made a note of that. It was pretty cool.
I mean, skeleton clock is badass.
Skeleton clock is badass.
The only thing I could see doing differently, because, like, I don't remember, because did it have a pendulum? I don't remember.
I think it was more like grandfather clock-ish.
Okay.
If I mean, I don't have a picture of it right, like, in my head directly.
Yeah.
I kind of
remember. But if, like, the pendulum was also like a femur or something like that, that'd be pretty cool. Anyways, while cutting a slice of bread, Thomas accidentally cuts into his thumb, causing him to bleed. Orlok becomes almost entranced by the sight.
It was, it's kind of like got the skeleton on top of it.
Okay.
So no, it wasn't really. It kind of has like that top of the grandfather clock thing going on.
Yeah.
But no, it's like a base clock with like a full skeleton above it, and I think the arms moved or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still pretty badass though.
It is. It's really fucking. It's really cool. It's
creepy.
cool. I like it. What?
Nothing. We're weird.
Sorry, what were you saying?
So while cutting a slice of bread, Thomas accidentally cuts into his thumb, causing him to bleed. Orlok becomes almost entranced by the sight.
Oh no, the vampire wants blood.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So Orlok asks Thomas to sit with him a while, for it is almost daylight, and Orlok, of course, sleeps during the day. Thomas obliges him. The next morning, Thomas awakens to find 2 small puncture wounds on his neck. He doesn't think anything of it and proceeds back to the dining table.
Orlok's little love bites are kind of cute with the little teeth, and Thomas like just smiling about it. It's very homoerotic. And this is when I started building a ship between Orlok and Thomas. This is the blossom. You're going to hear a lot about that actually for the rest of the movie in my notes.
Well, so much like Eggers' version, in this version, Orlok, like, he's based on a very much more like folklorish type vampire. Because like modern vampires, the way they're depicted, their canines are their fangs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but in this type of vampire, it's the two front incisors.
Yeah.
Are their fangs. So them being much closer together in this scene makes more sense for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's still cute though. And he literally like Thomas is looking in the mirror and he's smiling.
He's like, what's this?
Yeah.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Later, Thomas wanders the grounds of the castle. He stops at the veranda and writes to his dear wife, Ellen. He believes the bites on his neck are from mosquitoes that seem to plague him.
Poor dumb himbo Thomas.
A rider approaches the castle and Thomas flags him down to deliver his letter.
So I'm pretty sure they have a lavender marriage, Thomas and Ellen. Like I'm shipping Orlok and Thomas together from now on. Like calling it Tomlock or Ormos or Thorlock or Thorlock is pretty good. Thorlock is pretty good.
I mean, wouldn't it be Torlock?
Thomas
Torlock?
Well, no, I just put TH in front of Orlok.
I know.
It's Thorlock.
All right. That's good. The evening approaches. Thomas and Orlok continue combing the real estate documents. Thomas inadvertently knocks a small framed photo of Ellen onto the table. Orlok takes great interest in the photo.
He just jelly.
Hey, peanut butter jelly time.
Yeah, he jelly.
Orlok agrees to buy the house. Thomas retires to his room for the evening. He notices the small book from the inn among his things. He reads through, the text seeming to haunt him. At the strike of midnight, Thomas peers from his door to see Orlok, out of disguise, waiting. The door to Thomas's room swings open and Orlok walks in. Thomas feigns sleep so to not be noticed.
Orlok is a somnophile. Do you know what a somnophile is?
No, explain.
A somnophile is someone who is turned on by people sleeping.
That is a kink.
That is a kink,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, most vampires are probably somnophiles.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot.
Orlok's just like, I want to suck your blood. Yes, blood.
The pause.
Like, it wasn't what you were thinking. No.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good. Ellen wakes at Harding's home and wanders onto the balcony. Harding notices and spots Ellen walking along the railing of the balcony in a trance. Harding catches her as she begins to fall. He brings her inside and calls for a doctor. Thomas, still feigning sleep, is slowly covered by Orlok's shadow. Ellen, still in a trance-like state, reaches out to Orlok. Orlok leaves Thomas's room, seemingly saving him from becoming another victim.
It's a beautiful set for the Harding home. The glimpse of Ellen walking across the banister, it was like a chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Almost said a different word. Ignore that. But yeah, you see her kind of wander off into like the veranda, And she kind of like goes out of screen, and then you see her like feet walking along the banister, but it's just her feet in her nightgown. And it was like, that was, I that was really good. Mm-hmm. That is subtle, beautiful, graceful.
I love that part, but I also love seeing Thomas like cowering under the cover and him just being kind of like covered by the shadow. Mm-hmm. I thought that's so good. Because it's almost like Orlok isn't even really there.
That's that shadow power.
It's like
that's
his
famous
apparition.
Yeah, that famous shadow power.
Yeah. And even you see a lot of use of that same shadow in Eggers' version too. Mm-hmm. Eggers does a really good job using the shadow and stuff.
Yeah. I kind of wish we'd watched the 1970s one.
Yeah.
With Isabella
I don't remember.
Angier?
Yeah, I don't remember her name. She was in Possession.
Yeah, she was in Possession.
But yeah, I don't remember. I mean, we'll watch it someday.
Yeah.
Ellen falls back to sleep, the doctor claiming it's harmless congestions of the blood. Thomas jerks himself awake. He searches for Orlok, eventually coming across Orlok's resting place. Thomas peers through the broken lid of the coffin to see Orlok asleep. He tosses the lid. Orlok still fast asleep.
The drama of Thomas just ripping open that coffin. Ooh. Just getting it done. Let himbo power, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just so crazy how like he rips the lid of the coffin off and Orlok is still just asleep, like unaware. And it's so crazy to me.
That vampire trance.
Yeah. He's just done. Mm-hmm. He's sleepy boy. Later that evening, Thomas peers from his window to see Orlok staffing coffins onto the carriage. Orlok then climbs into the last coffin as the carriage takes off. It's kind of comical too.
It's very comical. It's so comical to see. It really is.
Like there's just like pyramid stack of coffins on this carriage with no one driving it, and he just kind of like climbs into the last one, and then like through stop motion, you know, they kind of just slide the lid back onto the coffin, you know, and for it being 1922, it's very convincing.
Yeah,
but it's very comical.
Oh yeah.
Thomas fashions a rope from sheets and climbs down from the window to the ground. He falls to the ground and faints. A raft floats down the river carrying Orlok's coffins.
Well, you know, Orlok is a businessman. You know, like he can't just stick around playing house with Thomas. He's got to make some big money moves.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got business to handle.
Yeah, he's in real estate, dude.
Yeah.
The third act begins with Thomas in a hospital bed. Orlok's coffins are loaded onto the ship Impusa for transport to Visburg. The ship's crew inspect one of the coffins, turning it over to reveal soil and rats inside. Later in Visburg, Professor Bulwer lectures students on the mechanisms of the Venus flytrap, claiming that it's like a vampire.
I don't know if I would agree that a Venus flytrap is like a vampire. It's more like a carnivorous. It's carnivorous because it eats the thing. It just doesn't suck the blood out. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I guess they have to make parallels somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, connections and
yeah. But, I mean, that's fair. Yeah. Dr. Severs is notified that Knock, who was admitted to the mental hospital, is going mad. Professor Bulwer shows his students a polyp with tentacles, claiming that it's like a phantom. Knock is still going crazy in his cell. Ellen sits on a bench at the beach, pondering life's mysteries. Harding and Ruth play croquet in the lawn.
You know, it was a really cool Gothic beach, you know, with all the crosses and everything. It was pretty cool. Like, who's burying people at the beach? Who's burying bodies in sand?
The Germans?
Okay.
I don't know. But what I mean, in Eggers' version, he does the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
The sets are very, very
Oh, yeah, they
similar.
did a great job. Yeah. Who's burying people in sand?
I don't know.
Okay.
Harding and Ruth received the letter sent from Thomas. Harding and Ruth then approach Ellen at the beach with the letter. They read the letter together. Ellen clutches the letter to her chest and runs off.
It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic. She really believes in that lavender marriage. Do you know what a lavender marriage is, by the way?
No, I don't.
A lavender marriage is when one of the spouses is secretly gay and they have gotten married to cover up that spouse is gay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure Thomas and Ellen has like a lavender marriage going on. Pretty sure Thomas is gay. That himbo is gay. That himbo is gay.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
no one's saying anything negative about that.
Thomas is, I mean, he's a good dude.
Yeah. Well, no, he dumb. He dumb as a box of rocks.
Well, he tries.
Does he?
Maybe. I don't know. Thomas, seemingly healed from his illness, leaves the hospital. On the sea, the Impusa continues cruising towards Visburg.
Impusa.
A guard cleans Knock's cell, and while his back is turned, Knock steals a letter from his pocket. The letter claims a plague epidemic has broken out in Transylvania and Galaz, the departure point of the Impusa. Knock is joyous.
Knock is just fucking crazy. He got it so bad for Orlok, and Orlok only has eyes for Thomas.
I know. He wants the Orlok dig.
God, he wants Orlok so bad.
The Impusa crashes through the waves on the open sea. Meanwhile, Thomas continues his journey home. The crew of the Impusa begin getting sick. As they die off, they're given sailors' funerals. One of the crewmen decides to head below deck with an axe. Below deck, the crewman begins hacking away at the coffins. The rats begin flowing out. Orlok springs from his coffin. The crewman runs back on deck, trying to get away. He falls into the water, leaving the captain all alone.
Orlok leaving his stink all over the ship. You know, like, also, does Orlok know how to captain a ship alone?
Sure. I don't know. You have to ask him.
Like, because he's going to kill all these people. He's trying to kill the captain. Like, what is he going to do once there's no humans on board? Like,
well, I mean, Orlok stalks his prey, eventually seemingly killing the captain. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The fourth act begins with the Impusa still at sea, bobbing along the waves. A hard breeze wakes Ruth. She finds Ellen on the balcony. Ellen claims, "He's coming. I must go to him." Ellen makes a mad dash toward the docks, while the Impusa finally makes port at Visburg. Knock watches from his cell, exclaiming, "The master is near."
Like, girl, calm down. That's your man's man. He ain't coming there for you. Like, I mean, he is, but to like off you so he and Thomas can be like together.
Oh yeah, true.
Like, that's his goal, is to be with Thomas.
I didn't really realize that, bro.
Yeah.
That he's just trying to off her.
Exactly.
To get Thomas.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is literally, this is a homoerotic story. This isn't about Orlok trying to get to Ellen. It's about him getting rid of Ellen so he can be with Thomas.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
At the docks, Orlok peeks from the cargo hold, ensuring the coast is clear. Knock takes advantage of a guard in his cell and makes his escape. Orlok carries his coffin through the town, making his way to his new home. The rats begin spilling from the Impusa's cargo hold.
Orlok is so broke. He can't even get more henchmen to carry his shit. Like, he's got to carry his own coffin through the streets of...
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. Thomas finally makes it to Visburg and finds Ellen. Orlok, seemingly lost, continues carrying his coffin.
Orlok is crashing out, it seems. Like, he is full crash out right now. Just wandering, carrying this coffin, dragging it behind him.
Like, he's literally like carrying it on his shoulder or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of wandering around like, the fuck is this place?
Dude, filler in like silent movies is crazy.
It is. It is, bro.
Sorry.
Orlok eventually finds the very house that Ellen and Thomas are in, almost as if he can smell her.
He smells Thomas. He couldn't find the house until Thomas got to the house.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know why you think I'm crazy. We're thinking this is just a gay love story. This is gay. This is gay media.
Okay.
This is probably the first gay movie.
Could be.
I don't know. I might need to look into that.
Could be. I mean, you've got some valid points.
Mm-hmm.
Orlok finally makes it to his new home and sets up shop.
Oh, I did right. I said sniffing out his bottom, looking for Thomas is so messy. Because you know that himbo is a bottom.
Yeah.
Orlok's no bottom. He's a penetrator, you know?
Oof.
He's a vampire, you know?
Oh, true. Yeah.
See, I'm blowing your mind with this, aren't I?
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. The next day, townsfolk make their way onto the Impusa to find the nearly dead captain. The captain is carried off the ship, and the ship's logs are taken. The captain of the Impusa is examined. The ship's logs detail the Impusa's passage and the beginning of the plague epidemic. The men cover their mouths and leave quickly. The town is alerted to the danger of plague, and the townsfolk are forbidden to transport the fallen or ill to the hospital lest the plague spread.
That's just homophobic.
How is that homophobic?
I don't know. It just is.
Oh, okay. Interesting. The beginning of Act 5 shows a man exiting a home. He then marks the door with a cross, indicating the people inside were infected. A few doors down, a group of men carry a casket out of a home. The town is slowly being ravaged by the plague. Meanwhile, Ellen discovers the small book that Thomas brought home. She reads a few passages and falls into another trance. It reads, "Take heed that his shadow not encumber thee, like an incubus with gruesome dreams, wherefore no other salvation is possible. But that a maiden, wholly without sin, maketh the vampire forget the first crow of the cock. Would that she'd give freely of her blood."
He really just trying to get Ellen out of the way so he can move in on Thomas. Like, that's a messy love triangle.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think...
The wording there alone.
Orlok wrote the book, so she would find it. So she would think, oh, I've got to give him my blood.
Okay.
It also said cock.
Yes, what I said, the wording. The wording is a little homoerotic.
It's a little sus, dude.
A little sus. I don't think people say sus anymore.
I don't think they do either. I don't know why I said that. Thomas finds Ellen reading the book. Ellen points to Orlok standing in the window across the river.
He's just like, "Hi, beach.
Hi.
Hi, beach." He literally just in the window staring at her. And Ellen was like, "Oh,
it's very creepy." Oh, man. That evening, the lamplighter makes his rounds in the streets, casting light upon the town. A hard breeze blows through the window as the day turns to night. Ruth awakens, frightened, and tries to leave. Looking out the window, Ellen sees a line of pallbearers carrying coffins down the street. She thinks back on the words she read in the book and makes the realization that she can beat Orlok. During this time, the town is also looking for Nock, who we then see being chased through the street by a mob. Nock is then spotted on a rooftop. The mob begin throwing rocks at him. He makes his way back to street level and leaves. Nock is then chased into nearby fields where he hides. The mob loses him, and he's able to make his escape.
I mean, he was a messy wannabe alchemist, and now there's a mob after him. No one is surprised. No one is surprised.
Like, you done fucked up, Aaron. That's crazy. Orlok stares out his window toward the Hutter house. Ellen wakes and walks to the window in a trance. Thomas, fast asleep in the chair, unaware of what's happening. Ellen opens the window, and Orlok sees it as an invitation.
Girl, don't do it. Girl, don't do it. But, like, the drama of her opening that window and accepting her fate was well done. Like, yeah. I'm very impressed with Ellen. She's probably the best one out of the whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she definitely gives off some creepy vibes, too. You know, but, yeah, she plays it so well. Ellen wakes up Thomas and asks him to fetch Professor Bulver. Thomas leaves while Ellen awaits her fate. The famous shot of Orlok's shadow climbing the stairs and entering Ellen's home.
Mm-hmm. And all jokes aside, it's one of the most classic and beautiful shots. Mm-hmm. It's iconic. Everyone knows what that shot is.
Yeah. Yeah, him climbing the stairs. Mm-hmm. Ellen, clutching her chest, makes her way back to the bed. Orlok's shadow grabs at her. Thomas wakes Professor Bulver, who agrees to come with him. Orlok begins feeding on Ellen. Dr. Sievers is alerted that Nock has been captured. Orlok, still feeding on Ellen, hears the rooster crow and makes the realization that it's too late. Nock also hears this and calls out to his master. The sun encroaches upon Orlok as he realizes his fate is sealed. He tries to leave and in anticlimactic fashion vanishes into thin air, leaving behind smoke. Ellen wakes to realize she's defeated Orlok. She raises her hand, calling for her husband. Thomas makes it to her side just as she passes away.
Well, at least Thomas is signal now, but Orlok is also dead. So I guess Thomas is just alone now. Maybe that's what Thomas needs, you know?
Some alone time.
Yeah.
Some soul searching, as it were. At that same hour, the plague has come to an end. In the ending shot, we see Orlok's castle in the mountains destroyed. The end.
Mm-hmm. What a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel now that you've seen it?
I mean, at least I can say I've seen it.
Yeah.
It really is boring. Like the story, the concept is great, but the silent movie, it's not for me. The silent movie, I have too much ADHD and I got the dyslexia, so I have to read and stuff. Silent movies, it's just not for me. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
But the shots were good. The story's good. I really do think it is like subtly like homoerotic, which I think all vampire stories are in some way, in some form, because it is about penetration, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like take Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, right?
Yeah. You want to talk about Anne Rice Interview with the Vampire with me?
As far as like vampirism and stuff goes, like that's about as homoerotic as you can get. Because, I mean, you could get more homoerotic.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it's implied.
Yeah.
But also, you have to... Anne Rice's vampires aren't sexual creatures. They don't have sex. Like, ever.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
So even like Louis and Lestat,
Yes.
they don't have sex.
Well, in the new show, they do.
Uh-huh.
But in the books, they don't.
Interesting.
Even later on in the books, in that series, in the Vampire Chronicles, it gets kind of crazy. And they do an experiment on Lestat to see if he can father children. And they have to stimulate him certain ways to,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why they portray it differently in the show.
Sex sells.
True.
And I mean, who doesn't want to see like...
Yeah, I mean, that is yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I definitely see your point of view though, because there are a lot of consistencies when it comes to, you know, homosexuality and stuff in this movie. Yeah. Between Orlok and Thomas. Mm-hmm. So, and Ellen's just kind of in the way.
She really is. Like the new one, and it does give Ellen more, and to be more about that, and also gives Ellen more backstory.
Right.
But that's not what was in the original. Yeah. You know, it was more about Thomas and Orlok and their connection.
Yes.
So.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Despite its brilliance, Nosferatu was never supposed to survive. Bram Stoker's widow sued for copyright infringement shortly after the film's release, and the court ordered all prints destroyed. But one copy slipped through, quietly spreading across Europe and eventually the world, turning what was once forbidden into something immortal.
That's so it's crazy. That is absolutely like fate at its best. You know, like you have someone who created something, and yeah, there's definitely some copyright issues, and I understand the need to get payment for that, but ordering them to be destroyed is insane to me. Like that is crazy. Like she could have just sued them for, you know, well, she did sue them for copyright, but like just pay her, give her share, you know. But like ordering them to be destroyed is so painful. That's like burning books to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is wild. I mean, I don't know what the thought process was behind destroying them. I mean, I could see it from like the Stoker estate viewpoint because that wasn't their story to tell.
Right.
Even though they changed the character names and stuff, it's still the same story.
I feel like it's pettiness.
True.
It was really petty of them to demand them to be destroyed.
Yeah. So Murnau went on to direct The Last Laugh and Faust before moving to Hollywood, where he created the silent masterpiece Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. But his life was cut short in 1931 when he died in a car accident just days before the premiere of Taboo. He was 42.
Oh, he's so young. Oh.
Yeah. And yet, Nosferatu endures. It gave horror its cinematic language, its use of shadow, silence, and suggestion. It's shaped the vampire archetype before Bela Lugosi ever donned a cape. Nearly every shadowy figure, every creeping dread that followed, can trace its roots back to Count Orlok, a film that was almost erased, now carved into the bones of cinema forever.
Yeah. Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Good job.
This was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say anything about the hiatus?
Well, as Danny said, we do plan on coming back eventually. This is not the end of AndIMadeHimWatch.
I mean, we love doing this. I mean, we like doing this. It's fun. We get to do it together. It's something we're passionate about. It's a really good hobby for us.
Yeah.
But we have other things to focus on. More important things currently.
And, I mean, there's always the possibility that I may decide to do or be more active on our like TikTok channel and stuff, because I was doing a series where I was covering a movie from each year in a short 30-60 second video or whatever. So I may try to do that again, maybe not as frequently as every day, but something along those lines. And I don't know, just to keep the old spirit alive, as it were.
Yep. All our episodes are going to stay up. All the YouTube stuff is staying up. TikTok stuff is staying up. Shorts. Everything is still staying up. The web page probably won't stay up.
No, our web page is going down.
Yeah.
The podcast has become somewhat of a money pit, if I can say.
Well, it's a hobby, and we put effort into it. We put finance into it.
Yeah. So we're just gonna throttle back on that.
Yeah. In the state of the world and the economy, we can't put $100 or something dollars in to like promoting the podcast every week or 2 weeks.
Yep.
It is what it is, and it's okay. I mean, it's fine. We're not saying goodbye forever. We just need to take a pause and see what happens in the world and what happens in our lives and complete a few things. Yep.
So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you again, everybody. I'm not going to cry. I promise this time. I just really, I don't know how to get across how much we appreciate everyone for listening and their support.
Yes, it does mean a lot. And we will be back eventually. But check out our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, we'll still be, active, and we'll respond when we can and all that good stuff. We just won't be putting out any new episodes for a while. So with that, all I have to say is stay spooky.